Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Holding Court with the Empress of West Hollywood. My name's Enoch Miller, your Empress of WeHo, and we want to give a special thank you to all our sponsors here for Gaylifela.com and White Rabbit Partners for the amazing studio you see here today. Last night we were at an amazing event for myself and our friend Eric Restivo with Listen Sweetie, hosting the red carpet at David Cooley and the Abbey's 12th annual Christmas in September, which was so much fun. We got to see like Ross Matthews, Tara Reid. It was a great time. If you guys didn't get a chance to donate a toy though for the drive, you can always go to the LA Children's Hospital and put a toy in their Christmas box. And it's a really great cause that they do that for. Like I said, the Abbey's been doing it for 12 years. They raise thousands of presents for children up there. And it's a great cause. So if you didn't get to participate last night, you can go find out through the Abbey or go to LA Children's Hospital to make sure you can donate today. I want to give a special shout out to my amazing guest, Pickle.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
No, of course. And you, I mean, I love the fact that you came in full face and looked beat for filth.
Yeah.
Sexy.
I mean, I have trivia tonight at Bar Medicine,
Yes.
so I kind of had to. And then I was like, well, I mean, I'm a drag queen. If I don't, like, what's the point?
And yeah, and don't forget that everyone, Wednesday nights, Bar Madison, you can always catch Pickle for trivia. What time does it start? 6 or
It's from 8 to
8.
10. So we get started at about 8.
Okay.
Wham bam, thank you, man.
So let's go back a little bit to pre-Pickle. Let's go right before all this kind of started and go to when you were first here in LA. So you're an LA boy, LA lady boy originally.
Yes.
And what city were you originally from here? Like just LA proper or?
Oh, that's how they get you. Yeah. I was born in Redlands, California.
Ooh.
Born.
But that's really pretty area too.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, now it's like super urbanized.
Right.
Mostly Targets and Kmart's. But
well, she says now, like, cause you know, when I'm like 12 years old, so fuck that shit. So then when did you, so then you went to high school in Hamilton High.
I did. You really do know more about me than I know about myself.
We were going through this before and she's like, wait, how did you know this? Where did you find this?
I feel very vulnerable.
Internet. So you went to Hamilton High.
I did.
And then you went to New York for college at Sarah Lawrence. What was that whole experience from you going from LA to New York?
Well, I knew that I wanted to go to New York for school. I picked Sarah Lawrence as the school that I wanted to go to after my sophomore year of high school. I was very sure. So which might have been a little premature. But I applied early decision, and I just really I thought that, like, New York was, like, where I wanted to be.
Got it.
And I did enjoy it. I loved Sarah Lawrence. It's a great school. I, met a lot of wonderful people there. I really loved the education that I got. But I just didn't, I miss Los Angeles. I love Los Angeles. I really feel like an Angelino at heart. And so when it came time to kind of, decide where I wanted to get my start, I had initially wanted to move to Detroit.
Oh, really? Okay.
But didn't. And then I came back to Los Angeles, and that was kind of... So I enjoyed it. It was a nice little, 4-year kind of fantasy getaway. But I just didn't want to, live in a closet.
That's true, though. You pay $6,000 for, a box.
Oh, my God. The conditions.
And so did you originally go there for performance art or to go be, someone on Broadway or something like that?
Star.
She wanted to be a star. Or did that kind of change a little bit, or through being there?
I went to Sarah Lawrence to study theater.
Okay.
Specifically because I just didn't want to go to a conservatory or audition for conservatories.
Got it.
I wanted to get a proper liberal arts education.
Got it.
I could never dedicate myself solely to arts education. I really wanted literature and art history and everything.
Okay.
And I really believed in their philosophy, which was studying what you love through different lenses. So I studied theater there primarily, but through different, I would take a literature class and I would do a theater project kind of about, through the lens of different subjects. So I'm at a loss right now. What did I do in school? But I partied. And I game partied. Well, that's true too. But like, I got to take classes like art of Mesoamerica, like things that just I would never have come into contact with otherwise, that really shaped who I am as a performer and as an artist as well. Like,
okay. So when officially did Pickle come into being? Because it's such a unique character. She's a lot of fun, very
she's
very
unique.
But the great thing about it is you have kind of like, you're not kind of a one style kind of girl. It's a little bit of a kind of different styles, kind of mishmash to make this fun character that's really upbeat, poppy, energetic. And what kind of really was your initial inspirations that kind of helped shape who Pickle became?
I would say, I mean, I first did drag. I did drag the first time actually in college. I was in a play. Well, it was a musical. Everyone's story.
Wait, there was a gay in a musical?
It happened. It's actually, but mine is special. I was in, I'm better than everyone. I was in a musical called Ruthless.
Okay.
Which is a parody of Gypsy and All About Eve and the Bad Seed.
Oh, wow.
It was a horror musical, and I had never done drag, but I was always interested in it, and so I played this character that's supposed to be like a drag character. And,
okay.
And so that was my first experience doing that. And so from the gate, I've always played she was like a Mama Rosie kind of character.
Got it.
Pickle has always been, even when I wasn't Pickle, it's always been sort of more of a maternal, like, you know, the idea is this kind of twisted, maternal character.
Well, I mean, it reminded me so much of, like, Married with Children, of, like, the fun hair.
Totally.
The cool, I mean, it's not quite 80s, because you do bring a lot of stuff from current day pop culture that makes it, again, not an old character. But, I mean, it's like, the way I saw it, and you can tell me this is wrong, but I was, like, thinking, like, Daphne from Scooby-Doo's sexy, slightly older MILF aunt that would come around and was, like, the sass one. It's just, like, in a nice, cute tube top, great hair, skinny tight jeans, and heels.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah. And my policy is always like, you know, if the check clears, they can call me whatever they want. Like, I really don't care. But yeah, it's always, what I think kind of happened, and growing up, we didn't have cable. Poor me.
Okay.
A true story. So I would watch Fox. So I loved The Simpsons, and the show that came on before The Simpsons was Married with Children. So like, I always watched Peg Bundy and was just interested in that fashion. And then when I was kind of shaping my character, I mean, when I started drag, just like everyone, it was just a mess.
Whoa.
Like, you know, and I had an idea, but it didn't like.
Well, and also it takes a minute to test things out, play things around, figure out what fits with you.
But I always had this idea of being like this MILF, like this character that didn't have kids, ostensibly, but had lost them at some point. Like, my tagline is like, oh, I'm a MILF that lost custody of her kids after the fire.
From the cigarette that she actually
fell asleep smoking. How do you know that?
Internet. No, I'm kidding.
That is spooky. I'm alarmed. Are there... Okay.
I brought a medium on earlier. This is how I do my research.
They're gonna kill me. Because I think part of it was that I wanted to have, like, an aesthetic, and I wanted to be beautiful and glamorous on some level, but I'm not, like I'm a funny person. I never would fit
you're not like
into
a pageant
that.
queen.
Yeah.
You're not like a comedy queen. You're a mix of a bunch of different things that make it who you are.
So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of have all those worlds collide in a way that's very me. Like, you know, it can, like, a MILF can be funny and pretty.
Right. See, and face. All face.
Beauty.
And so that's kind of the inspiration there. And then I bet the question on everyone's mind, why Pickle? Obviously for the double entendre a little bit, but...
Not at all.
Really?
Everyone thinks that, but no, I am not.
Oh, I totally saw this giant veiny dick.
I'm not a sexual deviant. But, well...
We'll ask our friends later.
Friends. I don't have
Or ask our coworkers.
My colleagues, my peers. I couldn't think of anything. I wanted to come up with a drag name. I wanted to do drag, and I couldn't think of a name because I'm not creative in terms of like puns and things like that. And so I kind of had all these ideas, but they were too serious. And then I was like, okay, I should. And I was really inspired by Queen's like Head of Lettuce.
Oh, okay.
is really kind of where I stole that. Because I was like, well, I really like head of lettuce. And so I should think about, like, I like that her name is, like, so arbitrary.
Right.
Like, vegetable.
It's just so random, but it's funny.
And she had told a story about how she had come up with that name, and then, like, she called her friend, and her friend was like, that's terrible, don't use it. And she's like, I think it's terrible enough. So I was like, I should pick something like that, and then call my friend, and see if that's what the reaction I get. And that was exactly what happened. I was like, well, I like the name Pearl, I like the name Raj, I like the one name.
Got it.
But I was like, I'm not a Pearl, I'm not a Raja, so, like, it has to be a little bit funny.
Right.
So I was like, Pickle, because it's like head of lettuce, it's like all those things, and I called my friend, and she was like, yeah, that's terrible, like, you can't use that.
Like, it's terrible enough.
Perfect.
And so what was kind of the response of when you first started the drag scene of people kind of being introduced to you, and kind of what was your first experiences with all of it?
Generally, they would flee. But,
Ran for the hills, or for the valley.
Lock the door! I started at Exposure Drag, which is in Highland Park.
Okay.
Which is this huge phenomenon now, and it's at the Offbeat Bar every Monday night, and so, but I was in kind of the OG, like, when there were, like, 5 of us,
Got it.
like, 20 people, and,
Right.
like, we were all so, like, none of us knew what we were doing. Like, it was like the blind leading the blind, leading the blind. But it was so much fun and so supportive, and, like, the audience and the regulars were so just, like, warm and amazing. I started off, I was kind of more of a I think people start drag from different angles.
Well,
like,
right.
Some makeup artists, some are, like, hair people and fashion. I was a performer, like, that was kind of what I was known for, was my performances, and then everything else kind of caught up.
Got it.
More and more, and then I was able to branch out, and I just kept doing it. It just kept happening. Drag is one of those things that just kind of happens to you. Like, you do it, and then there's a point where you're like, where I was like, well, I have too much of it to stop.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, I liked it more and more, and then, like, there is a point where it's like, well, if I go back, I look like an idiot, honestly.
That sounds like the story for me and my uncle. So, just a whole lot of just bad choices until you just, I can't stop. It's fun. But no, I do love the fact of, and especially, quite frankly, with a lot of the younger queens that I see coming to the scene, they're starting to go back to the basics of actually live singing, doing more performance, having it not just be about the face and the outfit and the hair, and really about the experience of you coming to see a drag show and it being fun, entertaining, energetic. And I really love the fact that it's going back to that organicness, I guess you could say, of drag, not just being a lip sync for your life every 5 minutes. But what was your kind of reasoning to do live singing rather than lip syncing?
I lip synced. I don't know what the
saying.
That's not a real word, is it? I mean,
it's a real word now. Put it on Wikipedia.
Lip synced. Call it that. For a while, and then I always wanted to sing. Like, it's something that I always loved doing. But then I had a really weird choir teacher in high school, and that kind of put me off of it. I felt very vulnerable, so I was very afraid to, like, open up. And I still do, like, it's been hard. A process. It's really hard, and, like, for anyone who's thinking about lives, for all you that are thinking about it, you really do have to just put yourself out there, and part of the reason I was so afraid of singing, what really started me singing in drag was I went to see one of Jackie Beat's shows.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, I'm entertained. Like, I forgot what it felt like, it's gonna sound shady, to be, like, truly entertained.
No, I 100% agree. And you don't get that, especially the ones like Jackie Beat, like Sherry Vine, even Lady Bunny. I mean, they sing and are freaking belting it out there like crazy.
And it really comes, like, they are where they're at because of years of experience and also talent.
Right.
But, like, so that inspired me, and even seeing queens like Anita who sang live, and I'm like, okay, it can be, like, I'm gonna do it. And then I started doing it, and, like, the first few times it was a little bit like, ooh, I wasn't comfortable on the mic, I didn't necessarily sound great all the time. But it's like, it really was a reminder that, like, I think that especially, like, sometimes we just think that, like, I think I'm going to go out and do it the first time brilliantly. And it's going to be amazing.
Right.
But the reality is that I have to do something over and over and over again before I start to feel comfortable.
Right.
And then I start to get good, and then I start to learn how to do it. And so that's really been my experience with live singing. And now I really don't regret it. I
Oh, yeah.
really am so grateful that, because there were a couple times when I first started doing it and I was talking to my friend, I was just like, I just don't want to do this. Like,
Right.
it's too much. I feel too vulnerable. Like, I'm not good enough. And then I just kept doing it. And then, like, I landed that gig at Flaming Saddles because,
Right.
I mean, there's, like, 3 of us that sing live in
Right.
Los Angeles. And, like, it was a live singing brunch. And then doing it every week, especially with someone like Anita who
Right.
always shows up, like, on point
Right.
and, like, really
Well,
the quality is so
also
high.
her background is musical theater too,
Yeah.
so she's just very used to that as well. And I think, but again, like seeing you for the first time at Saddles with that, you didn't seem uncomfortable at all. You had a really fun. Again, I guess you hear Pickle and everyone's like immediately picked up like, ooh, who's this? Like,
What
this is
is
interesting. Like, yeah, exactly. What is it? Are we doing like guild service? Like, I love it.
Is
Is this- but it is. I mean, you have a very fun, and I mean I don't know if you think this way. I thought it was a very powerful voice when it came to singing your song, belting it out, and actually having fun with it, and doing the fun catty things you would do when walking around, getting people
Catty?
involved. Sassy.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a musical theater background as well.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Like, I just don't talk about it all the time. But, yeah, I mean, that's just, I think, showmanship.
Right.
Like, I've always been a show dog. Like, it's just something that I know how to do.
Yeah.
I was talking to my therapist, and
Was that gin and tonic or?
I was like, my therapist, the mirror, in my foyer. I'm kidding, I don't have a foyer. So my therapist was like, I was talking to her and I was like, sometimes I feel more comfortable on stage than I do in real life. And I even though I think that's like, a bit of an exaggeration, I think that there is something about it that just always has made sense to me. Like, things in life don't always make sense to me. Like, life is hard, being young is hard, everything's complicated, but there's just always been, and I think people feel this way about, like, when they find their calling,
Right.
like, in any capacity, there's just something about getting on stage that makes sense to me in any capacity, and I'm able to relate to people, and I think that I'm blessed to have that, and super grateful.
Well, and I've seen so many queens on either interviews or just talking about it in person where they say, I mean, first of all, once you get into that character, that persona, it kind of melts the rest of your fears away, because a lot of girls are really, really quiet, reserved when they're like, just as a boy, but once they put on that hair, that wig, all that stuff, I mean, it just, all this energy comes out, like someone like Mariah Paris Balenciaga. Elijah is quiet, reserved,
Right.
put together. Mariah comes out and that girl's flipping, her toe
Right.
touches the ceiling, she's doing flips and splits and stuff. So it's like, was that kind of something like that for you, where being Pickle helped kind of release all the insecurities a little bit and give you that opportunity to come out and just belt and shine and be this amazing performer?
Actually, not at all.
Okay, so it's already there. It was already
Yeah,
there.
I just don't have that experience. I know that a lot of people do have that relationship with drag where it empowers them, and I think that's so beautiful, and I have just always been very charismatic, and actually the funny thing is that at the beginning, getting into drag toned me down.
Really? So it did the opposite?
It was the opposite,
Oh, that's so
where
cool.
I was like more in control.
Got it.
And more like,
Did it, like, center you in a way?
It centered me
Okay.
weirdly, and like, and that is what drag has been about for me from the beginning, was like, I didn't know where to put all my creative energy and what to do. I was like,
didn't know
there's
where to put it, people.
I didn't know where to put it. I couldn't find the hole. Okay. So like, drag offered me this thing where it's like, oh, okay, I can perform, I can have an aesthetic choice, I don't need like a whole team of people to put something together, I don't have to wait for opportunities. It really was about that for me, and then I gradually fell in love with it more and more, and like in the history of it and all of that, and like, so I don't, and now I have more of a sense of empowerment
Got it.
with it, but I would be lying if I said that like, I am Joe first,
Right.
and then Pickle is like a facet. Like
Got it.
I say that like drag for me is about accentuating the qualities of myself that I find to be delightful.
Oh, that's really fantastic. I mean, because again, I love hearing those stories of people's what drag does for them, and the fact that it was actually your center, and it kind of brought you to kind of a, this is where I focus my, like you said, focusing your creative energy. That's really cool that's how drag was your outlet for that. The great thing also that you got to do this year was you did DTLA Proud. You performed there. It was actually a lot of fun. I loved your Kesha. That was my favorite song. It was like so funny because everyone was like, "That's such a somber song." I'm like, "No, but it was the most perfect song you could do for then and there." She did Kesha's newest songs, which was the woman. I'm a woman. It's Praying. Sorry, Praying. I was like, wait, well, not woman, because she is a motherfucking woman. But so Praying. But it was just that power that you standing on stage with a microphone right there in front of you and just belting. What was that whole experience like being, well, first of all, your first year at DTLA Proud, and then just the whole ambiance of being on stage. What was kind of your initial reaction with everything?
Wow, it was such an amazing experience that I really didn't even tap into in the moment because it was so weird. And I was kind of picked, I nudged people to vote for me.
Right.
But
still.
I was picked to do it from kind of I don't have a huge social media following. I'm not super famous yet. So it was really meaningful to me to get to do that and to get to, even at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon where I knew that it was going to be not a lot of people, it was still such an amazing opportunity. And so I initially was going to do I did Don't Rain on My Parade.
Right.
Praying. And initially I was just going to do the Barbra Streisand song, and then I found out that I had 10 minutes, and I was like, well, obviously I'm going to do 10.
Right.
And then I was like, I'll do 2 songs, and I really, Praying was a last minute decision, and for me it was a selfish decision, to be honest. I was like, I know that this isn't right. I spend a lot of time in drag thinking about, because I do think it's so much about the audience, and I try to make selfless decisions where it's they don't want to see that necessarily. They want to be entertained.
Right.
They want to laugh. That's what I deliver.
Right.
So, I want to deliver that, and
right.
that's why I get booked. But then I was my uncle was helping me.
Oh, awesome.
Because he's a music, all my family are in music, and he is a music producer, so he was teaching me, helping me with my voice, and I was like, I kind of want to do this song, because Praying is such, for a lot of people, I think it's a really emotional song.
Oh, yeah.
It really touches me, and was really special to me, and so I was like, I kind of want to try this,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it for him, and he was like, you have to do that, because I'm so emotionally connected to that song, and what it means about, projecting positivity into the world,
right.
and hoping, in that way, I love it because it's not a vengeful song,
right?
And it is a side of me that I don't get to show as often, and so it was really special to be able to make that choice and get up there, and just so empowering for me, not just in terms of, oh, I'm glad that it went well and
right.
I didn't fuck it up, or make it went well, but to be able to listen to a song and be like, oh, I love that song,
right,
and then do it,
right,
and perform it,
right,
in front of people, and it was so empowering,
mm-hmm.
because I was like, this is what I get to do. It
right.
was a huge
right.
moment for me, because it was I get to do this,
right.
I get to make these decisions, and that's why singing live is so important to me as well, because I am a part of this,
right.
now, and it was super special.
But honestly, I don't hope you don't think it was something that it shouldn't have been sung for that day, because people were if they had lighters, they would have had lighters up, but they were singing with you. Everyone around was just so on board with it, and the reason I think it was so appropriate is because of how it just encourages empowerment and encourages a sense of yes, I am saying kind of goodbye to the past and goodbye to the bullshit of it all, and now it's me moving forward to be strong and to be empowered and be, I guess, a strong woman.
Yeah, a strong biological woman.
Biological.
Yeah,
it was very appropriate, I felt.
And I knew it was appropriate. I was like, this is what pride means to me.
Exactly.
Being proud of myself, being proud of other people, and prayer is a huge part of my life,
mm-hmm.
and so to be able to share that was super special.
It was a lot of fun. And then did you do anything like any of the other events around during the Pride event, or was it just mostly just your one performance there?
Yeah, I like showed up, did my thing, and left.
She's like, peace.
I came from brunch, and I was like, okay, I'm hungry, and then.
But honestly, it was hot, so that would have been a lot to stay.
It was such a special event.
Yeah.
Thank you, DTLA Proud. It was so fun. I got to walk around a little bit afterwards, and like, you know, a lot of my friends are involved in like planning and being a part of the different things.
So what do you feel is like? I mean, I know everyone kind of gives LA Pride a little bit of flack because it's kind of, they feel like it's become this kind of mainstream Pride, but I mean, it's still an amazing event. What would you feel like it was your favorite thing from DTLA Proud compared to LA Pride? What was like kind of the one thing you saw that was just like, oh my god, I love how they did this, or something like that?
I do it is a complicated issue.
Well, because they're so different.
They're very different,
Yeah.
but I think that I will say that, like, you know, when I walk into LA Pride, the first thing I see is Wells Fargo.
Got it.
Presents LA Pride. And all the complicated politics that go along with it. And I think that it's part of the nature of the beast. But DTLA Proud really has a sense of community,
Got it.
of building, and it feels more organic.
Okay.
Like, you know, the people involved are finding the sponsorship that's necessary in the right places. And, like, not to fault LA Pride, but, you know, it is problematic. And, like, so to kind of have a queer festival that's really about being queer and celebrating queerness. I mean, you know, all the artists on the DTLA Proud stage, I believe, you'd have to fact check me, were queer.
Yeah.
And that is not the case at LA Pride.
Right.
It's like, you know, I was there at LA Pride the day I was working, the day after Orlando.
Yeah.
And Carly Rae Jepsen played, and I went to see her because I'm a big CRJ fan. And there was this moment where she kind of spoke about Orlando, which, how could you... My thing was like, how could you not?
Yeah.
Like, this is the day after Pulse Orlando,
Right.
and the headlining artist at LA Pride, this is what she said verbatim: "I don't know what to say, but my heart is broken." And then, like, sang a song. And I was just like, wow, okay. Yeah. So, like, that kind of disconnect, I think, is something that I didn't find with the DTLA Proud watch. I'm gonna get, like, blacklisted.
Oh, no. What I do love, though, about what DTLA Proud brings is the fact that it's like, it's a different type of the LGBT community you don't always really see, because LA Pride's very much kind of your, it's very, again, it's mainstream. It's a little bit more of like, you have your regular people that just kind of come for it because they know what to expect. But DTLA Proud, I think, brings more of that Silver Lake crowd, the fun, the bears, the otters, I want to say the grungy side of the community, but it brings this whole different aspect of what really downtown LA is turning into, of this whole demographic, that it's a side of the community that I think a lot of people don't notice. It's the side of the community, honestly, that wouldn't really go to LA Pride, but they would come to DTLA Proud. So it's really interesting to see the dynamic that DTLA Proud brings from the community and the surrounding area, and what they do. And it's fun. They did a great job with the kind of the pool party, and just the performances as well, having the Lay Brothers, you obviously, and so I just really, I really like that it was just. I mean, again, I love the fact that they didn't try to copy LA Pride, and I love the fact that they did them, and it was just really successful them doing that that way. And
they're very adamant about not being anti-LA Pride, which
they have a really good relationship with the LA Pride people, and again, it's a different type of festival, and it's really, they like to do what they like to do. LA Pride has what they do, and it's really hard to kind of pick and choose, like you said, because again, they're completely separate.
Well, and you don't have to. You can go to both.
Right, exactly, which we do. It's fun. So let's go into, let me see what I had on here. There was something. In February, you did a really cool drag queen story time with the children. And I love seeing, especially when I went to DragCon this last year, they have a section now for kids, and they have queens come and read stories to them. What was your whole experience with that? I know you say performing for children is like performing for gay men. It's about the same thing.
I will say the children were slightly more attentive than sometimes the gay audience.
Did they kind of treat you like a princess? Like, I mean, like
I mean, kids. I love kids. Like, I work with teenagers. I direct musicals at my high school that I went to here. I do their fall musicals, and like I love working with young people. Kids are amazing because kids haven't been crushed by their minds,
right?
The way adults, we overthink and complicate everything, and kids just say what's on their mind.
Right.
They take everything for face value.
Right.
So they don't see me as like a gender. Like, they don't see gender. They're just like, oh, or they see gender, but
it's just like she's pretty.
They're
They don't
just
go
like, oh,
that's
this
a
is like a Disney character.
Right,
like, their whole world is like giant dogs and like mice and like.
Right.
So they just like are like, I want your dress, or like, this one girl showed up and she was like done up.
Oh,
and
really?
I was like, oh my god.
You're like, I'm gonna steal your face.
Yeah, I was like, gosh, I'm like, I wouldn't let my daughter leave that. But, it was so sweet to, like, to see that and see their enthusiasm, and they're just, like, they want to take a photo, and, like, it was really cool. I loved it.
And what do you feel is kind of like, I mean, obviously the kids being just like you said, they're just, I mean, they're basically a blank slate ready to just absorb.
To destroy.
Everything. Like, to destroy, right? But what was your kind of interaction with the parents? Obviously they're a little bit more open-minded, obviously, that they're bringing kids to drag story time.
Oh, they were horrible. No, they were really great. I mean, they were sweet. I think they were very appreciative, and yeah, they were just like, I mean, the people there are there to like give their children. It was funny because like the mom who organized it was bitching about how her kid was so like heteronormative. Like he's like into
she
like
was mad about
trucks and like she's like, I keep trying to like get him to like be into like princess stuff and things, but he just wants to play with trucks. And I'm like,
well, he just wants to play with trucks.
No big deal.
We all need straight men because we all need more gay babies. Thank you.
Babies.
So, and I love what you were quoted at the first thing you walk out, that talking to the children, my fairy godmother gave me these really magical nails. So if you see one fly off my hand, I want everyone to scream really loud because she said she wasn't going to give me another set.
It's true. I had just spent like all this money on those fucking nails. And I was like, I'm going to gesture and it's going to fly off my hand and then like no one's going to say anything.
And it's just like, I want you to let me know where it goes because I need to find that nail.
Yeah, because I'm going to need to get up, stop telling the story.
Did any of them fall off?
No, they didn't. It was kind of a Christmas miracle.
So how was like the whole? So were they actually really quiet and sat down and listened to your reading?
Oh
yeah, you did 2 books,
kids,
right?
Yeah, I read 2 books.
Got it.
Kids are just like,
yeah,
late silence, and they laughed a lot. I mean, they laughed a lot because I'm funny. Like, because I really tried to bring the stories to life. I had done children's theater before, and I was like, you break away from the script, and you're like, do you think that she's pretty? Like, whatever, like, everyone say the penguin's name, and like, so they were really interactive and enjoying it, but they were very attentive, and it was so cool, and I know that a lot of queens have gotten to do it since me. I was the first. But but I would really recommend. It was a really magical experience.
And I really love the whole concept of the fact that it's not an organizer or someone else, that it's like a charity, it's actual parent that is putting this event on, encouraging that. Yeah. And what would you feel was, well, I mean, for you, what you got from it, being there, whether it was the joy of children all around, or was there something that you kind of was just like a little bit more like, oh my god, this was just so amazing because
money.
Money.
No.
The check cleared.
The check. No. It was. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like having little people come up to you and see in their faces like their little glistening eyes right before you punch them in the face. No. Like. It was magical. It was like, in the way that like performing for children is always magical.
Right.
Because like they're so impressionable. I mean, I remember when I was a little kid, we saw like Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like, that was amazing. Yeah. And now I'm like, Joseph in Technicolor Dreamcoat is trash. But like, yeah, it was really magical.
So you aren't necessarily a comedy queen, but you've done a lot of comedy stuff. You're right. Well, I really liked your comedy you did with you did a roast of Meatball. And a lot of people know. I mean, she's a local queen around here. Everyone loves and knows her.
She's like international now.
But yeah, she is international now. What was do you do a lot of comedy at all, or is it just kind of something that happens like just very off and on with stuff like that? Or are you looking to do that more in the future at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love comedy. Comedy is, like... I just don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a comedy queen, first of all, because I think that drag queen implies comedy.
Right.
That's like saying, like, oh, I'm a funny clown. And it's like, as opposed to, like, a remorseful clown.
I don't know. I
like,
watched American Horror Story, so there's fucked up clowns.
Oh, they're funny. Yeah, bad example. But comedy is really my baseline. I mean, my idols growing up was Carrie Fisher, and like her whole thing was I was so devastated when she died. But was like, bad things happen to you, and then you get to the funny slant.
Got it.
I don't approach comedy, I think, in the way that, like, comedians approach comedy, but I think that's partially what kind of sets me apart and makes me funny, because I don't have pretense about comedy. Comedy is just something that I think kind of flows through my blood and is just a part of my life. Like, I can't imagine, like, interacting with people that don't have a sense of humor or don't, like, I just don't relate to them. I'm just like, whatever. But so, yeah, the Roasted Meatball was so fun because I got to, I love to write. Writing is really my first passion, and, like, but it's more of a personal passion.
Got it.
Like, I got to do that because I love comedy writing. I love writing jokes, but it takes a lot of time, and, like, you need the right kind of venue to do it, so it was such a great opportunity to get to do that.
And just like from your personal perspective, where do you see drag either as a whole or just kind of in the LA community? Where do you see it happening or going here in the next maybe like 5 years? Because I mean, it's really shaped and changed so much within, first of all, the last 10 plus years since even with Drag Race and even that starting, it's really bloomed into something that's so accepted and embraced and really accessible. Where do you see this kind of going maybe here in the next either few years, 5 years, something like that? What's your kind of personal perspective on that?
Back into the swamp. I don't know. I have no idea. I think that I do know that, like, and the reason that I have queens like Jackie B and Coco Peru and even Lady Bunny, we keep saying even Lady Bunny,
because we're still hoping she's alive.
Yeah, we never know. As my idols, because they're the ones that have these careers,
right?
And what they do is they sing live,
right?
They perform shows. They have original concepts and they create content. They contribute to the zeitgeist to the cultural zeitgeist in a very significant way.
Right.
So I try to model myself after that, and I know that that's where drag is going to go back to being. You know,
back to the basics almost of what real
like in
drag was.
7 years when Drag Race is over and the aftermath of that kind of settles down, like, you're going to get the demand for drag will go down.
Yeah. The
demand for quality in drag queens will go up.
Right.
And that's what we call natural selection.
Darwin had it right.
So I just really try to focus on myself and, like, where I am today, because I don't even know if I'm going to be doing drag in 7 years. I just know that I'm doing it today and I'm enjoying it, and it's paying the bills, and, like, and I am so blessed for that. I'm so grateful, and, like, to drag as a general concept, and so the best way I can show up for it is just be as professional as I can, and really make sure that my whole creative mind and spirit is in it. And, I'm not just phoning in. Right.
And I really love what you said. I mean, it's quality content. It's people, and it's especially building your own content. The fact that you can do it, like what Sherry Vine does all her own music videos. Jackie does all her own skits. She writes for other people. Like, I think you're right. It's coming back almost to the basics of, you have to know to perform, you have to know to sing, you have to know to dance, and you have to know to do all this other stuff. So, motherfuckers, learn to sew. and like
or
all these
don't, you know, like talent is one of those things. Like,
well, it's true.
It's there, and like it will always win, and it will always trump. Just like, sorry, comedy will always win competition.
Yeah,
like there's just these like baseline kind of things, and I think people don't realize it. Like a career is something that spans decades.
right.
Like, I love it when people have been doing drag for, like, 5 years.
Like,
And
I got a
talk to me
career.
just like, I paid my dues. I did that. And I'm like, bitch, I haven't even started. We haven't even started paying our dues.
Right.
You know, I'm in a phase that I would call pre-career.
Right.
Like, you know, like, and we all are. So
right.
it's like, you look at someone like Jackie B, who's been doing it for 7 years now. And it's like, okay, I can calm down.
Right.
I can just take it one day at a time and, like...
Well, it's like for a lot of queens, too, that are starting out, too. Their lives have just started. I mean, they're, in their early 20s-ish, and now starting to find a career, and she, basically, her entire life plus, has been doing her career before anything else. So, no, that's exactly right. It's being able to learn that it's not going to be overnight, it's not going to be this quick success, it's going to take time, and you have to take your lashes with the rest of us.
And, like... She'll die soon, and it'll be me, Roz, and Anita. And our show, Bar Madasheen.
Yes.
Second Wednesday of the month, Party and Play. Me, Roz, Dress for Less, and Anita Procedure do a variety show.
Which will be amazing ball, so check it out, Bar Madasheen. And then
Mm-hmm.
also Wednesday nights with Pickle
Tonight.
For trivia. So come out to there, starting at 8 till 10.
Love me.
Love me. Pay my bills. But I want to thank you so much, Pickle, for coming out.
Thank you.
We had so much fun
Thank
with
you so much. It's
and
a pleasure.
check out all her social media. You can go check her out on It's Pickle Bitch on Instagram. It's _Pickle Bitch at Twitter. And then Joe. It's all under.
I was like, I have a Twitter? Like,
yeah.
He really does know more about me than I do.
But yeah, check her out on her social feeds, and you can just kind of keep up to date with her. But yeah, Bar Madasheen, the second Wednesdays for PNP, and then every Wednesday for trivia, and you'll love it. We also want to give a special thank you to our sponsors, Gaylifela.com and White Rabbit Partners. Thank you guys for all this here today. Tune in next week. We have some fun with our new guest, Billy Francesca, local lady boy beard person. Well, no, we'll figure it out with her there. Technical term. We just know she has hair. Lots of hair.
Lady beard
boy person with heels. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Thank you.